Welcome all of you in the second module of Unit 2. In the last module, what we have discussed the ecosystem, structure and function of the ecosystem, food chain, food web and a case study of DDT. Now today we are going to discuss what are trophic levels, exactly how energy flow happened. Now the ecological pyramids we are going to discuss and the ecological succession, very important topic. As you can see in this particular diagram, the trophic levels, I already discussed about it in the module 1, the trophic levels and the energy transfer. Here I want to say that the energy is higher in the solar part, you can say, in the sun. That energy, the small amount of that energy entrapped to the plants. The plants have the higher energy amount as compared to the other trophic levels. The plants are producers, they prepare the food, and that energy transfer to the herbivores, to carnivores and the decomposers. So according to this diagram, we can conclude that only 10% energy get transferred from one trophic level to the another trophic level. Energy flow in an ecosystem. As you can understand by the first law of thermodynamics, that energy can neither be created nor be destroyed, it can change one form to the another form. So in this context, you can say that this energy is stored in the producer part and then transferred to the step by step to the herbivores, to the carnivores and the omnivores. So by this diagram, which is available with me, in this diagram you can see that the stored energy transferred to the herbivores and the other components or the other biotic components, but there is a loss of energy is also available with the respiration, the locomotion, the other activities of any living organism. So that's why we can say that only 10% energy is transferred. Whatever one component is getting, only small amount of that component is transferred, energy component transferred to the another level. The other energy is dissipating from one form to another form. So in this diagram you can see there is a cycle of the energy. At the end of the death and decay, the decomposer utilize that particular energy and they also release that nutrient content to again to the soil part. Okay, so like this, there is a cycle of the nutrient content, there is a cycle of the energy, and there is a utilization of energy in different forms of activity as well. Now ecological pyramids. Ecological pyramids means when we are going to represent different habitat in a particular trophical structure, that representation is known as ecological pyramid. So there are three types of ecological pyramids: pyramid of number, pyramid of biomass, pyramid of energy. Pyramid of number, depending upon the number of participant, or you can say the population size. If the population size is higher at first level and then the population size is continuously decreasing, then this pyramid is known as upright. But when the population size is single, like a tree, and then most of the birds, depending upon the population size, get increased, these are supposedly these are 25, and in the feathers of these birds many insects are there like leaves and all, then the population is again increasing. So there is a population size in increase. Such type of pyramid is known as inverted. So in pyramid of number, we can have upright pyramid or trophic structure of different ecosystems or habitat or a living organism, and we can also have inverted trophic structure. The pyramid of biomass is that the dry weight of a particular trophic level. It may also upright and inverted. But in the pyramid of energy, the third part is that it is always upright, because always the higher amount of energy get transferred from one level to another level and there is a decrease in the energy. So that's why it can only the upright pyramid. So this pyramidal representation of trophic structures, depending upon the population, depending upon the dry biomass, depending upon the energy transfer, we can have such pyramidal structures. Now, very important topic, ecological succession. As the term success means, there is the transfer of the nutrient content from one generation to the another, or you can say when one generation gives way to the another generation, that is known as ecological succession. It is observed that one type of a community is totally replaced by another type of the community over a period of a time. Suppose 1000 years back there was a lake, and after 1000 years there is a generation of a forest. So this is a long term process from lake to the forest, the conversion from lake to the forest. Ecological succession is defined as an orderly process of changes in the community structure and function with time mediated through modification in the physical environment and ultimately culminating in a stabilized ecosystem known as climax. As you can see in this particular diagram, there was a water body which is converted into a terrestrial ecosystem. So depending upon which type of substrate was there, if it starts from a water body, then this is known as hydrosphere. If it starts from the different substrate, the name will be different. I am going to discuss them as well. Now we can classify ecological succession in two parts, pre-sere and sub-sere. Number one is primary succession, the second one is secondary succession. Pre-sere or primary succession means when there is a bare land, bare lake, it get converted to the another ecosystem, that is known as the pre-sere. But when there is a natural disaster, after natural disaster, again there is a formation of a new ecosystem, that is known as sub-sere or secondary succession. So apart from this, diagram represents the hydrosphere or hydra, when starting in watery areas like pond, swamp, bog or lake to the terrestrial ecosystem. You can see in these four structures that there is a continuous change in the community in these four structures, and in the end there is a marshy land or a terrestrial ecosystem get formed in the climax stage. If the substrate, the starting point is a adequate moisture land or area, that is known as mesozoic. If the starting land or substrate is a dry area or little moisture area, then this is known as xerosphere or xerac. We can also classify xerosphere in three parts, lithosphere, semosphere and halosphere. When the pre-sere starts from a bare rock, it is known as lithosphere. When pre-sere starts from the semosphere, the stand part, then this is known as semosphere. When the pre-sere starts from the saline soil, then this is known as halosphere. What is the mechanism behind it? There are 5 steps of ecological succession. Number 1, nudation. Second one is invasion. Third one is competition and coaction. Fourth one is reaction, and the last one is stabilization or climax stage. Nudation means accumulation of all component to start a community. Invasion is the growth of that particular community. Competition and coaction, depending upon the Darwinist survival of the fittest, there is a competition and the coaction or the reflection of each and every community towards each other. After the competition and coaction, the leftovers give the reaction, how they perform. And in the last, there is a stabilization of a different community, that is also known as climax. So what we discussed today, trophic levels, the energy transfer specifically. Next, energy flow in the ecosystem, ecological pyramids, pyramid of number, pyramid of biomass, pyramid of energy. And in the last, we have discussed the ecological succession, its classification as primary succession and secondary succession, the examples, the types of substrate, and in the last, we have discussed the mechanism of ecological succession. Thank you.